Here we are. It's obviously the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Melbourne Storm. It's a bit of an interesting one here, Campo. Sorry, Baxter. Sorry, I was talking to Campo before this. It's definitely an interesting one, Baxter. Obviously, the Broncos have no changes to the side that beat Newcastle. I think it was Kobe Hedrington has been named, obviously, despite suffering that head knock against the Knights. I guess this Brisbane side, they hit the ground running. They then fell apart. They then went on a bit of a spell. They've now come back crashing down to earth. Their fans, they're buzzing. They're going to play finals football, but there's still a chance they miss out. It's very, very unlikely, but do you see this team doing anything in the finals, or is this team on paper right now that we've got in front of us on the screen, is it just there to make up the numbers?
I think it is just to make up the numbers, obviously. But given what's surrounding them, I think they're the stronger of the few there. Obviously, as you said, they're 4 points out of the 8. They got the third worst for and against there out of the top 9, if you want to look at it like that. Obviously, this has been the third game of the week with South and Melbourne playing before. Oh, obviously they're playing Melbourne, sorry, but South's playing beforehand. So this is a sort of touch and go here, because if South win and Brizzy get up, that could leapfrog you into 5th and Melbourne into 6th, given with the respected scores around the park. So it is a big one for Brisbane. They need to sort of show that they're not here for numbers, which I think they are. And look, it is a great side on paper, but look, they get back Paddy Carrigan week 1 of the final, so they're just got to hold on until then.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, that is a massive point. Obviously, we've started to become accustomed to Carrigan not being in that squad. We do need to remember he was the player of the series when it did come to Origin. He is a massive out for this squad. So who knows? That might be the screw come finals time that they need, but I've almost got to agree with you. I think they are just making up the numbers now. I have reached out, obviously, to a Broncos fan, so we will have a bit more of an in-depth review on their finals, I guess, run and what's expected coming up with him in the next couple of weeks. But, Baxter, let's move on to the other side. It's a Melbourne Storm side that's obviously come in. They've got Jerome Hughes back, massive, massive in. Felice Kafusi is still on personal leave, so he won't be on here. Obviously, our thoughts go out to the Kafusi family after their father did pass away. But what kind of stands out here? Obviously, you look at Nick Meaney, he's back at fullback. Nofaluma looks refreshed since coming to Melbourne. Justin Olam, he's just Mr. Reliable there for them. Xavier Coates comes back. You've got Munster and Hughes in the halves. Harry Grant at 9. Brandon Smith at 14. Big Nelson at 10. It's a scary squad, and for a team that's underperforming, you've got to be a bit concerned if you look at this squad and see those names piling up, don't you?
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a cracking game. Just obviously you can't see it on screen. With their extended bench out to 22, there is no Mr. Cooper Johns there, so I'm going to bank it on that Cameron Munster will start and play 6, not like we saw last week where he was named at 6 and moved to 1, and there was a few things shuffled around. This side is now starting to turn it on when it matters most. Obviously, they did most of their damage early on in the season, dropped off a little bit due to injuries, and man, this squad is. It's going to be sort of a one to be reckoned with. Obviously, David Nofaluma, he's gone from the Tigers. He's joined this Melbourne Storm squad, and I think his confidence is going up a notch. You can see it. Just you can from what I've heard in reports that just his mood around camp. He's just this guy that just wants to prove himself as not being this Tiger player that's just in a bad team. Maybe they pick him up for the next year and continue on his run with the Storm.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, you do speak about Nofaluma and the chance that they do pick up Storm. there was an interview about him, and I think his exact, and I'm paraphrasing here, so it's not his exact words, but it was something along the lines of, "Oh, at this stage, I'm just happy to be at Melbourne. I'm going to give 100% to Melbourne." So for me, if I knew I was going back to the Tigers, I'm trying to keep the Tigers fans happy. I'm probably saying, "Yep, there's a 100% chance I'm going to be at the Tigers next year." So it is an interesting one. Like you said, Munster probably does stay in that number 6 role. But let's talk about the number 14 for a second. It's Brendan Smith. We've already talked about Staines in our earlier preview of obviously Panthers and Rabbitohs. Mate, was it a good step? Was it a good step, or was Charlie Staines just terrible at fullback? Was that a good step last week?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it was like a 7 out of 10 on the step scale, and Charlie Staines couldn't catch a cold if he put his life dependent on it. So look, he's playing really well, and he's shown that whatever jersey he's wearing at the time, he's putting in his 110% effort in. Whether that is this Melbourne Storm this year or the Tricolours next season, he goes out there, he does a job, and what more can you ask from the bloke?
Yeah, 100%. Now, obviously, this is a game that could determine a few leapfrog positions here and there. It could see a team drop as low as 8th. It could see a team jump as high as 5th. So I am going to pop us back up on the screen to get our prediction here because it is a massive game. I'll pop us on the screen right now. I am going to go Melbourne 1-12 purely not 13 plus because the game is getting played at Suncorp Stadium. Baxter, are you siding with me with the Melbourne Storm in 1-12, or do you see a Brisbane upset here?
No, I'm going to side with you, but I'm going to reduce it to 1-6.
1-6, but there you go. Baxter's caught it a bit closer. I've gone a bit more open. I think it could go either way, but obviously that has been the Brisbane Broncos and the Melbourne Storm review, and we will be back very, very soon with the next game of Super Saturday and the first game of Super Saturday.